Hello everybody, welcome. We are somewhere in New Mexico in the middle of a ranch somewhere, and we're going to share a yoga class with you.
A wildlife refuge.
A wildlife refuge. Same as a ranch, not really. So we've been in the car all day, and I thought it would be nice for Dave, I'm teaching, so for us to start with some hip opening, some hip release, a little bit of spinal mobility. So go ahead and begin in child's pose. And if child's pose, if you've been, and this may or may not work for you, Dave, if you've been sitting a lot today and child's pose doesn't feel good, just depends on your body, you could start in a different position as well. So as you land in this first shape, just take a few moments just to scan through your whole body, to sense the feelings that are coming in, the information that's arriving. And blend right along with that the rhythm of your own breathing. And so using that internal body sense to get a sense of initial anchoring, and then start to expand that awareness into the space around you. So just beginning to gather all of the information in the forms of sound, air temperature, air moving, smells. Begin to slow your breath a bit more, make it a little bit longer. Take one more long, patient inhale breath. One long exhale breath. And just come right up to hands and knees to tabletop position. As you meet your exhale breath, push the ground away, round your spine, give a little flexion to your belly. Breathe in to cow pose. Breathe out, big spinal rounding. This time as you inhale into cow pose, have a little bitty moment to where you can't take any more breath in, you're just in that anticipation space. And then when it's time, breathe out and do the same thing on the opposite end of the breath. So the moment you're completely empty of air, hold that anticipation space. And then just release to a neutral spine from there as you're ready. And then lift up into down dog just to get a little bit of reset, a shift around. As soon as you arrive there, go ahead and start pedaling side to side. And so maybe a steady pedal side to side at first. And then just get still in that asymmetry. So hold one knee bent, let that tensile stretch land down the line of the opposite leg. And then do the opposite leg. And then draw your feet a little closer together. Take your right leg up high, use a long inhale breath, bend this leg, get a stretch across your right hip flexor, through your right side ribs. And then take some ankle circles. Draw circles with your toes, one direction, your ankle. And then circle the opposite direction. And straighten this leg out and square your pelvis, hip points even. Take a long inhale breath as you reach these toes a little back farther. Come into low lunge position from here. So let your back knee come down. Wiggling into some really sturdy stability through your lower limbs. Engage through your left glute. Take both arms up as you take one big inhale breath. And then drop your right arm down. So you get this nice lateral stretch. And just think of the tensile stretch going from the very tips of your fingertips all the way down your armpit, right underneath your rib space, hip flexor, quadricep. Dave's almost crying.
So tender right here, so tender.
As you inhale, come back up to the center position. Just lift your ribs, your arms, your hands, your gaze. And then come down to the floor and wiggle your foot over for a half pigeon shape. So go ahead and walk this foot across. And since you're doing it in the beginning of class, before you've had this tissue warming, just adjust accordingly. You may have to shape it slightly differently. You can vary how much the pelvis is squaring down. You can leave it open a little bit, the left hip a little higher. Always good to get a little wiggle of this back leg back a bit. Make sure that your knee is okay with the pose. And then as you start to settle down into it, good to keep a little bit of action as Dave is doing here, staying on his elbows, rather than completely giving way to gravity. Keep it slightly dynamic. Come into Ujjayi, breathing here. With your forearms or elbows on the floor, see if you can use those points of contact to create a little draw toward the core center of the body. And then even both legs, as if you're hugging them into the hip sockets toward the very low belly, just a little bit stronger, holding this really active end range. Take 3 more of your breaths. Once you get through with those, just bring yourself back up, no hurry, to where you can manage to get to a 3-legged dog. So taking your time, tucking these back toes strongly, beaming these right toes way up into the air. Go ahead and bend this leg one more time. And then just a gentle flip dog. So all you're doing is stepping over, positioning feet nice and even, and this sort of lifting and spilling, pulling the ribs away from the quadriceps, pulling away from the knees with your hand. And then take your hand back up as you're ready, 3-legged dog. Come back around. Go ahead and square your pelvis. Reach through your toes a little longer. Take 1 more inhale breath. All right, slowly lower this foot down to the ground. Come forward to a high plank. Using strength and resistance, slowly lower all the way down to the ground. Let your elbows track straight back. As you land, airplane wings, go ahead and lift your body off the ground. Lift your legs, see if you can get your thighs a little higher off the ground. And then like laser beam action through all of your fingertips, pulling away from the very center of your chest. Take 1 more big breath in. All right, slowly lower your body down. Cobra or upward facing dog, waiting for your breath to carry you. No hurry. Eventually landing back. Downward facing dog. Excellent. 1 big inhale breath right here. Go ahead and open your mouth and let that part move through. All right, other leg goes high, so reaching with the left toes now, starting with this bend and reach. And just seeing if, through your whole practice, you can just stay as, this sort of satellite gathering of information from your body, from the space around you. When you're ready, squaring the pelvis back, extending this leg nice and long, and then bring it forward, starting with low lunge position, back knee down. All right, getting set. Right hip squeezing is a really essential part of getting the front right hip crease to start releasing, to start opening. Tailbone down a little bit, and then as you're ready, take this opposite, this right arm up and away. So much information from your body and from the space around you just to gather moment to moment. All that sitting in the car.
Totally. I had no clue until I did this.
When you're ready, Dave, come back to center. So you'll take both arms up and away, big reach. And then coming forward and down for half pigeon this side. Yeah, sometimes you have no clue what state your body's in until you come into some sort of focused practice, like getting on your mat. It's like we don't know what we don't know until we dial in. So take some time here, wiggling around, reshifting, reshaping as needed. And then once you know you're in a good position, start to create those little tiny actions of keeping the pose dynamic. So really different than just letting the weight of the body go as far as it can into this passive hip opening. Rather, really finding the end range of motion where you can still keep the body a little dynamic. Really good way to approach all stretches, really. Stay for 2 more rounds of breath. And then when you get ready, unravel it. Use your breath as your guide to make your way back into that 3-legged dog. Feel the very tips of your toes reaching. Bend this leg again. One more little open, and then go ahead and flip dog. Gently go over. So remembering not to lift up too high to compress into your lumbar spine, but keep your belly active. Just take a breath in the reach. And then when you're ready, take this hand back up. Come all the way over, 3-legged dog. Awesome. Slowly lower this foot to the ground and then tippy-toe your feet to the top of your mat. Come into a halfway lift once you get there. Forward fold and then come into a ragdoll for a few breaths. And if ragdoll is not the most appropriate pose for your body right now, listen to that, honor that. Maybe malasana, maybe a yogi squat, maybe something variable in between. And if you're not sure, notice how the pose is coming up in your own breathing. That'll tell you a lot. If you're in the fold, you might opt to take hands behind you and clasp them, or put a strap between your hands to start opening up the front deltoids, the pectorals, maybe angle it here and there, move it around a little bit. Yeah, wiggle your head. If you're in that space of the head dropping vertically down, nod it yes and no, nod it I don't know, side to side. Move your jaw around. Take 3 breaths, just really just soaking into this pose where you're at. Your third exhale breath, just start to release the hands if you have the bind. Let the arms get weighted toward the floor. Wiggle your feet toward hip width distance. Breathe into halfway lift, really feeling all the spinal curves here. Stay there as you get totally empty, bracing the abdomen. And then powerful legs, rise all the way up. Take your hands up, big reach high. And let your hands just be beside your body for a moment, landing in mountain pose. Close your eyes down and just get a really good sense of your body just balancing on your feet here. And as you find your way to your center of gravity, notice the little tiniest of movements that are happening through the soles of the feet, the ankles. And just by way of feeling, sensing the head position, the ribs, the spine, arms. Take one more full inhale breath right here in this shape. And then control the exhale breath so it's really, really slow. Wait till the very last drop of air leaves, and then arms rise up on your inhale from your feet. Big expansive body. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Again, all the spinal curves getting a little elongation. Forward fold again. Rise, extended mountain. Fold forward. Halfway lift as you fill with your breath here. Hands plant for high plank position. As your hands plant, give them that little corkscrew, snugging into the joints. Take one more big inhale breath. And slowly lower your body all the way down to the ground. This time interlace your hands behind you. Use your towel or strap if you need to. Open through the front body, lift up off the ground. If you can lift your hands off of your body, do that. Lift that space. And then ignite your feet like you're gonna grab something back behind you with your toes. Get longer through the back side of your neck. Take one more big inhale breath. All right, let that go completely. Plant your hands, cobra or upward facing dog. Follow your inhale. Belly lifts you to downward facing dog as you're ready. Take one big inhale breath right here. Open your mouth and whoosh, that go. Do it again, Dave. One big inhale breath. Pour the exhale out completely. Start gazing forward where your feet are going to go on empty. Jump, step, halfway lift. Fold down. Rise, just feeling your whole body as your hands reach up. Fold forward, feeling your whole body as you fold. Halfway. Hands corkscrewed, a low push up, so holding really sturdy in the shoulders, the belly, the legs, evenly into upward facing dog. Draw back, downward facing dog, just sort of pushing the floor forward, letting the breath move here. Just get a sense of how your feet are right now, how you're holding your knees, and just if there's any reshaping there that you want to do, now that you're really paying attention, do that. And then get a sense from your pelvis, through your ribs, your entire spine, and from really paying attention, get a sense if there's any little reshaping or reshifting you want to do. And with the hands and shoulders, same thing. Next inhale, heels come up as high as you can get them. Keep them up. Bend your knees as you move the breath. Brace the abdomen. Jump, step, or float. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Rise, extended mountain. Big reach up. Chair pose, land. Breathe in. Fold forward. Just listening here. As you breathe in, lift your right leg behind you, Dave. So just to lift up, not super high. Staying there as you exhale the breath. Take one more inhale breath. As you breathe out, landing crescent lunge, setting the legs. So waiting for the inhale to sweep up. Excellent. Big breath out right here. Take one more inhale, lift. All right, low push up. If you wanted to go straight to down dog, here's that option. Moving through up and down if that's where you're going. Take one inhale, go ahead and lift your heels, preparing to move. Bend your knees, get empty. Jump or step, halfway lift. Fold down, exhale. Rise, fingertips reach. Chair pose. Breathe in. Fold down. So we're going to the other side. It's left leg lifts on the inhale breath. We'll hold this time for an exhale breath. One more inhale, expanding through the toes. Exhales, legs in their position. Inhale, sweeps your hands up high. Staying to breathe out. One more inhale, a little bit bigger reach. All right, flow this through, load, up dog. Just letting the full rhythm of your breath be unimpeded. Downward facing dog. Go ahead, lift your heels as you breathe in. Bend your knees, whoosh the breath to empty. Look, go, halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise, mountain pose. Chair. Staying for an in-breath. Bow forward. Right toes lift on the inhale breath. Crescent legs using the exhale. Sweep and reach, one big inhale breath. Good, flowing it through here. If you need a little longer, take that. If you need more than one breath, one action, listen to that. Just arriving back in down dog. From there, go ahead, lift heels. Take one full in-breath. Bend your knees, gaze forward. Lightly step or jump, halfway lift. Fold down and in. Stand and reach, following the breath. Chair. Inhale. Fold forward, opposite toes lift behind you. Crescent legs to the breath. Rise. All right, flowing through. Good job. Making your way back slowly. Trying not to rush. Little pause, peek, and up dog. Hugging back to down dog, feeling your body fully, feeling your breath fully for a couple here. All right, right leg forward, warrior one. Rise with the inhale breath. Warrior two. Reverse warrior, big sweeping breath up and back. Half moon balance from here, just taking your time to shape it. So just going over some detail alignment with half moon today. Just noticing the standing toes, keep them as aimed forward as possible. If you're in a different space than you're used to practicing in, if you're outside, notice that the balance is just typically challenged a bit more. But it's good proprioceptive work to kind of go with that uneasiness, that awkwardness. Just keep finding your way back to steady. If you want to bind, you can, or you can stay. Remember, you're moving toward a sense of stacking the top hip on top of the bottom. May not quite get there. Take 3 more of your breaths. Use your gaze, use your breath. Third exhale, fold. Let it go, let your head drop down, spine drops down. Halfway lift. You never know. Forward fold.
The ground's so uneven right here.
Rise, extended mountain.
It's a good challenge.
Chair pose. Dave's got like really super proprioceptive challenge here. Like it's so uneven. There's rocks, there's mud, there's little stingy things. I'm not sure what they are, but. All right, from here, take 1 big inhale breath and then go ahead and twist to the right. So as you do this, take a little peek back and feel left leg, left hip. Think of kind of tacking the left hip back so it doesn't slide forward as you go into the twist. And then if you're using any leverage sense at all, elbow outside of thigh, hand outside of thigh, be so easy on that so you're not forcing your spine into the twist. And just get to where you're just staying, not really pushing any farther. Anchor your eyes. Inhale travels the length of the spine, and the exhale finds a little bit of motion through the ribs. Take 2 more of your breaths, Dave. Second exhale, when you arrive there, you just fold. Let it go. Pour it all the way down and in. Inhale lifts you. Rise, extended mountain. Come all the way up. Chair pose, come back in, hands to heart. Give it 1 big inhale breath, and then go ahead and find your twist the opposite way. One thing that I've been working on when I get into the shape is that I notice I tend to, even as I go into the twist, I tend to back bend a bit. So notice front lower ribs. Draw them in so you're not in a big back bend and a twist. So neutral spine. Make sure that you kind of tack the right hip back. Feet are evenly weighted here, just check that. And then take 2 more of your breaths, as slow and as patient as you can. That second exhale is just a spilling of your spine, your head, your teeth down. Good, breathe into halfway lift. All right, flow this through, low to up dog. Slowing the momentum down as you go. From down dog, left foot forward, warrior one, land and rise. Warrior two, reverse warrior, and then take your time shaping half moon balance here. You don't have to rush into it. Dave's trying to find the flattest spot to place his foot. And if not, just think how strong your ankle muscles are getting, Dave, your feet muscles. You can bind if you want. Sometimes the binding helps bring a little more stability for me, I know. And then really anchor with the eyes. Just 3 breaths, Dave. You can balance it for 2 more breaths around. The birds are all cheering him on out here. Third exhale is that landing light forward fold. You did it. And then rise up. Big inhale breath as you lift and reach. From here, draw your left elbow down so it's here to the side. You're just going to reach up and over and then actually make fists. So you have a sense of pulling this fascia line through the ribs, through the pelvis. Take an inhale breath. Using the fist, go a little farther to the side. And then as you breathe in, fists toward the ceiling. That is holding this tight fascial line and then opposite side stretch. holding a couple of breaths. Sometimes the fists just help bring an intensity and some tension into the body that's useful. Looks kind of cool too, Dave. When you're ready on an inhale, fist to the ceiling, and then let your palms be free. Good, fold forward, go all the way down and in. Halfway lift, using the breath. Down dog. So get a stretch back into down dog. Make your down dog nice and long front to back. So hands a little farther forward than you normally would. So it might even feel a little unstable. Get a really big stretch through your spine. Big inhale breath. Open mouth, exhale breath. Come forward to a high plank. You could take knees if you like. Side plank is next. So I'd like you to take the right hand a little forward. So Dave's kind of there already from the shape he was in, but I want you to have a little diagonal in the bottom arm. And then think of this one-sided protraction. So the right shoulder blade slides into the push of the hand. Then left arm to the ceiling. Spread across the chest, maybe a little leg lift, maybe you stay as you are. Counting down, 5, you keep expanding for 4, 3, 2, and then easy flow. Easy down to low or your belly. Move through up dog to downward facing dog. Good, take a big inhale breath here, open your mouth and let it go all the way out. All right, come forward to high plank again. Go ahead and step the left hand forward a bit so you have that diagonal line. This also helps to engage the serratus, which is the muscle that protracts the shoulder blade, which in a lot of us can lose a little bit tendency to fire. So really finding that here. Pulls the scapula away from the center line of the body. Going where you're gonna go for the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and then a buoyant drop to chaturanga. Really strong and slow. Little pause, up dog, little bitty peak. Good, downward facing dog, go back. Right foot forward, warrior 1. To open into warrior 2. Reverse warrior, up and back for triangle pose. So the front leg straightens. Remember, we're not getting a lot of lateral bending in this pose. It's just a hip crease coming into right hand down. I like this, what Dave is doing with his top arm, not extending it right away, but just getting his trunk aligned, keeping the bottom arm down, or the top arm down for a while. And you could keep it there. You could send it up eventually. I like to take a one-sided airplane wing too with the top arm. Is kind of nice. Looking down or looking up, just see what feels okay in your neck. You're gonna stay in the pose, 5 breaths today. And maybe staying really still. Maybe exploring and moving a little bit. So you're super patient. When you get to your 6th inhale breath, you'll just lift upright again. So just lifting up. Step your back foot up to get shaped up for a revolved triangle. Yeah, so feet about hip width distance apart. Make sure they're wide enough left to right. Take both arms up, Dave. Take a breath in and then just hip hinge. So keeping the spine nice and organized. No block here. Left hand down to your invisible block. Right arm out and open. Yeah, you could use your shin. You guys at home, a block, right, sturdy under your bottom hand. So the key really is to keep your spine uphill. Make sure you're not going downhill, really ever with a rotation. It's always better for the spinal disc to be uphill. Meet your edge, feel the very edges of the pose for you, the edge of your range of motion, and then stay. 3 more breaths, long and patient. Making the breath as full as you can get it. 3rd exhale, either return to down dog or go through chaturanga, up dog, down dog. And then from down dog, let a couple breaths roll through. 3 breaths. If you'd rather tap your knees down, go for it. And go ahead, other side when you're ready, rising up into a warrior 1 and warrior 2, moving through your reverse, moving the breath. All right, triangle pose. So a couple of things to note on the front leg is that when you straighten it, Try not to lock it all the way. You'll get a lot better information feedback from your leg tissues if you keep that little bitty softening there. And then if you ever go really big in the pose and you have a little pinch, do you ever get that? On the back of your heel? I get this a lot. So my heel is shaped in an interesting way, and I've talked to others that get it as well. You can actually get a compressive sense right here between the heel and the shin. So if you ever feel that, just don't go so big in the stance. Making sure the back foot is nice and solid. So the back foot, you'll have this back outer edge rolling down and the medial arch lift on both feet. Choosing your gaze from here, staying 3 more breaths fully. This time when you arrive at your third exhale, go ahead and dive down into straddle fold. And just think of it like that, a big diving down into it. Take your hands, your arms at 90 degrees, so you walk your hands back, Dave. Toes kind of in line with fingertips somewhere in there. Elbows go straight back. And then just sort of snug the crown of your head down toward the floor. You might have a little suction cup grip on the mat. Just enjoying, just gathering information from the inside of your body, from the surroundings. Keeping the legs as they are, changing a hand grip. Can you take your hands forward into that muddy ground, Dave? Is it too much? So if you can take your hands forward, take them forward to down dog position. If it doesn't work, keep them on the mat. That's fine too. And if you have a surface where you can have this sort of suction cup grip with the palms, sort of weight the pelvis back away from the palms, it's nice here. Let's take a couple of breaths. All right, gather yourself to where you can come in with your feet a bit, and you'll eventually come on up, setting up for a revolve pose here. So back foot's just gonna step up. It will probably need to step out to the right. So hip points, front of hip points, check them. You want them square forward. Arms go up, getting a sense of standing really tall in this position. And you stay tall even as you hinge forward. Just at the hip hinges, right hand down, block, shin, trying to keep the spine uphill. And then just be really curious about where the end of your range of motion is in the thoracic spine, in the shoulders, cervical spine. And then honor that. Don't need to push farther or achieve a bigger pose. Just stay right there. Take 3 more of your breaths. Third exhale, you'll take a flow through or go straight back to down dog. You choose. Take a breath in and a breath out in downward facing dog. All right, walk your feet forward to sit down, to come into a modified boat pose. And so modified by holding on to the backs of your thighs. So just using that as a nice support and lifting to the center of your chest. And if you keep your feet really active, it's going to help balance your whole body here. You can stay just as you are. If you wanted to take a hand forward and the opposite hand forward, you can. But you can also stay as you are. Keep lifting through the center of your chest. See if you can find a sturdy breath for 3, as slow as you can make them breaths right here. Your third exhale, using strength, you can slowly start to lower your body down, all the way down. You're good. To the ground. You might want to wiggle down a little bit more to your feet. Yep. All right, feet in close. Right away, go ahead and get that posterior tilt in the pelvis, flatten the low back. From there, come on up into bridge pose. You want to keep that little bit of lower abdomen engagement. Take 1 more inhale breath here, and then slowly lower yourself all the way down to the ground. All right, take a breath in and out. You've got 1 more of these, either bridge or wheel pose. You set it up, you come on up, Hold 5 breaths. Remember, the aim is not to get higher and higher in either one of these poses, but to get longer in the action. If you're going in a wheel, hands can go wider than shoulder width distance. They could be a bit angled. You're just staying through your breaths. You're in charge. You're in charge of your breath, your pose, timing. When you do release, like really, really lean into the release of the pose. Go ahead and lean your knees together, take your feet out wide, shut your eyes down. Observe that energy move through you. 3 breaths here. And as the energy moves through you, also gathering all the energetic information surrounding you. Once you're ready, you can just hug your knees into your chest from there. Draw some circles, one direction and the opposite direction. And then take figure 4, right ankle right over your left thigh. Reach through, snug in. If you can't rest your head on the floor, you could try using a strap or towel to get your arms longer to where you could. It's nice to be able to let go there. Just a couple of breaths. All right, switch it out. Other leg. It's getting dark on us here. All right, take an easy twist on your back here. Let your knees fall one direction. Gaze the opposite direction. A little bit of effort in your body to get there and then let go. Go the other way. When you're ready, unravel. Take a little pause, listen, feel. If there's any little wiggling around left to do, do it. Or arrive immediately into Shavasana. Take an arrival breath, take a big inhale, and then let your body go. Let your jaw be loose, let your breath go wherever it goes without you directing it. Trust that, honor that. Just allow your Shavasana today just to be symbolic of honoring just this natural rhythm of life, this flow of life, trusting it. If you'd like to take a longer Shavasana, please do so. Otherwise, go ahead and start to move a little bit. Can I sit by you? Make your way up to a seat, sit nice and tall. Take your hands to your heart center. Let's take a collective breath. Big inhale, all together. Breathe it out. The light within me sees and honors and knows the light within all of you, within you. Namaste, Dave. Yay, we made it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you again soon. Give us your comments, questions. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here.